And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, here to another edition of Vess's Vault. It is I, the Wrestlevessel, bringing you this show once again. I think we had a successful debut last week, and a lot of interesting comments from Steve, Chris, and of course, Seto. I am now back here to give you more information. Today on Vess's Vault, we will cover Demolition, Axe, Smash, and Crush. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the Demolition, they debuted in January of 1987. It started out with Axe and Smash, and at this time, Smash was played by Moondog Rex, otherwise known as Randy Coley. They were managed by Johnny V initially, but after a few months, Rex was replaced by Barry Darsow as Smash. So only a few matches they would wrestle together, maybe 2-3 matches, and then Darsow became Smash. Darsow was a better wrestler and far more entertaining than Coley. He played many gimmicks later on, including the Repo Man, the Blacktop Bully, and Hole-in-One Darsow. In April 1987, Mr. Fuji took over as the manager of Demolition. For most of their first year, they spent destroying wrestlers such as Brady Boone, Ken Patera, Billy Jack Haynes, the Junkyard Dog, George the Animal Steel, the Young Stallions, among others. They would just destroy teams and just hammer away on people. After dominating everyone, they got an opportunity to become the World Wrestling Federation Tag Team Champions at WrestleMania 4 when they took on Strikeforce. They defeated them, and after they won the titles, they became the longest reigning Tag Team Champions until they lost them in July 1989 to the Brainbusters on Saturday night's main event. Another interesting thing about Demolition was the double switch at Survivor Series 1988, which is very historic. Mr. Fuji turned his back on Demolition and joined the Powers of Pain, who were faces at the time. The crowd didn't know what to think, whether Fuji had turned face or if Demolition had turned face. But days later, it was confirmed it was a double switch, with Demolition now being the fan favorites and the Powers of Pain were the rule breakers. This led to a matchup at WrestleMania 5, which was a great match, and Demolition retained their titles in a 2-on-3 match against the Powers of Pain and Fuge the Stooge. The Demolition, as I mentioned earlier, lost the titles to the Brainbusters at the July 1989 Saturday night's main event. They would regain the belts from them in November 1989 on the Superstars of Wrestling. However, a month and a half later, they lost the belts to the Colossal Connection right before the New Year. At WrestleMania 6, Demolition regained the belts, and in June 1990, Crush joined the group, and there were now 3 Demolition. Shortly after this, Demolition would turn heel, and they attacked the Hart Foundation on the Brother Love show. This led to a matchup at SummerSlam 1990 when Demolition took on the Hart Foundation in a fantastic 2 out of 3 falls match, definitely the match of the night at the show. They would lose the titles because the Harts got help from Legion of Doom, and this led to a Legion of Doom and Demolition feud. Unfortunately, Demolition jobbed almost every match in this feud, and it really wasn't that crowd-pleasing. It could have been built way better. McMahon made a big mistake just burying his own creation and putting over the Legion of Doom. Axe would leave the WWF around Survivor Series 1990, and there were no more 3 Demolition. Around this time, Smash and Crush reunited with Mr. Fuji and gained new theme music. They got a few wins over teams like the Bushwhackers, Tito Santana, and Koko Beware, and some talented teams in Japan, but for the most part they lost a lot of matches, including to Tenryu and Kitao from the Land of the Rising Sun at WrestleMania 7. Crush decided to leave the WWF in April 1991, and his last match was jobbing to Bushwhacker Butch. Smash stayed around until July 91 as a solo wrestler, putting people over like the Ultimate Warrior, Jake the Snake Roberts, and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. During the fall of 91, Smash and Crush wrestled some matches together in Japan. However, Darsow would return as Repo Man in November 91, and Crush would come back in May 1992 with the same name, but now as a new gimmick, a big Hawaiian, and he was a babyface. The two actually went at it at SummerSlam 92, and Crush won the match pretty well in hand, not too much offense out of the Repo Man. Sadly, Crush passed away in 2007. In 2008, Smash and Axe reunited as Demolition, and they teamed up on several indie shows since. I had the pleasure of meeting them, talking to them, and getting a photo taken of them at a local independent wrestling show in February of 2009. Demolition were one of my favorite tag teams of all time, and they should be honored and remembered as being the longest reigning tag team champions, 3-time tag team champions, and just being for pure dominant and destroying teams. They would put on great matches when they took on the talented teams like the Hearts, Rockers, and Bulldogs, and they also knew how to face the big powerful men like the Powers of Pain and Legion of Doom. I really enjoyed seeing Demolition in the ring all the time. Another big thing about them was the legal battle of the name. Axe and Mr. McMahon kept going back and forth about who had the legal name to Demolition, and I'm not even sure what the final result was, but they do use the name on the indie circuit today, so they must have finally won. Alright, another segment here I'm doing today was requested by Chris Hanson. He wanted to talk about some historic referees. Let's cue up the WWE Hall of Fame theme music. I'm just kidding, I don't know if you want to play it or not. But we had many historic refs over the years, and today we're going to discuss some of them. We got Dave Hebner, Earl Hebner, Tim White, Jack Doan, Mike Chioda, Mike Atkins, Randy Anderson, Charles Robinson, Nick Patrick, Teddy Long, Bill Alfonso, Dick Kroll, Dick Worley, Danny Davis, or Dangerous Danny Davis if you will, John Bonella, Billy Silverman, Mickey J, Freddie Sparta, the Mophead ref who refereed the Bret Hart-Roddy Piper match at WrestleMania 8, the Geezer ref with the goatee who messed up a lot on counts such as the Shane Douglas-Paul Roma match from the January 91 Madison Square Garden show, Jack Kruger, this is the ref who yelled a lot. He's like, 1, 2. He did the Gang Bigelow at WrestleMania 4. Chad Patton. We got WWE's most recent comic ref, who's African American. No one really knows his name too well. Jimmy Corderas. Joey Morella, the son of Gorilla Monsoon. Rita Marie, who had legal trouble with Vince McMahon. Wink, wink. Brian Hebner. Scott Hutchinson. Jimmy Jett. Red Shoes Duggan, who refereed a lot of matches in Canada, and those are some of the prominent referees in the past of the World Wrestling Federation. Now, Chris Hanson is going to discuss with you some of his memories of these classic refs. I know he really likes Dick Kroll and Dick Worley, so let's hear more on that. And also, I got a little promo here on you, Chris Hanson. That trivia last week was way too easy. I guess you really want that 2010 Royal Rumble DVD real badly. You see, your trivia knowledge was not that good. Questions such as, who did, Haku face at WrestleMania 7? Well, he teamed up with the Barbarian and faced the Rockers. I mean, some of these things are just way too easy. People got to ask him more challenging questions like, who did Crush face in his World Wrestling Federation debut when he returned as the Hawaiian gimmick? I'm not sure if you know that one. Or, things like that. You don't ask him common pay-per-view questions. I know those like the snap of a finger. Don't even have to think about them. I know Steve was pretty impressed by them, but they're pretty easy. We maybe should have a head-to-head trivia contest with me and the cat live on the show. Then you could see who really the smart and perfect one is. And a little quick thoughts on Raw last night. I didn't see the show, but I read results. And I really don't like the way World Wrestling Entertainment product is going. You see, we got, first of all, a new women's champion in Eve Torres. What is so great about Eve Torres? Does she really deserve the title? Did she earn it? I don't think so. And why is suddenly Jack Swagger, why is he feuding now with Randy Orton? Why isn't a SmackDown superstar such as Chris Jericho or Edge getting the title shot? This makes no sense unless they just want to have a #1 contenders match at the pay-per-view, and then the winner would go on to face Swagger later. But I really don't like the way this product is turning, and it's really going to have its struggles and issues. This is the Wrestlevessel reporting. Back to Chris and Steve in the studio. And Chris, what do you think of this current stuff going on and my issue to you at a trivia challenge? Enjoy. Have a good day, everyone.